Last Friday, my fiancée told me she had to attend a company retreat. You know, one of those team-building weekends where everyone is supposed to bond over workshops and silly trust exercises. And I didn't think much of it, until I saw a photo that froze me in place. There she was, smiling under the sun, holding a glass of champagne, standing so close to one man from her office that it didn't look like a work event at all. It looked like a date. No, more than a date. And in that moment, my stomach dropped. My blood went cold, and I realized the wedding we'd been planning for months might never happen. You ever had that gut punch where your whole reality twists in a second? That was me. But let me back up because the story didn't start on the yacht. It started with us, me and her, two people who thought we had it all figured out. Truth is, we looked like the perfect couple from the outside. We had our little rituals. Friday night pizza at the corner place down on Harbor Street. Saturday mornings walking through the farmer's market, holding hands, laughing about how expensive organic strawberries had gotten. $7 for a pint, ridiculous. I'd known her for 3 years, and after the proposal under the Christmas lights downtown last December, I thought, this is it. She's the one. No more searching, no more guessing. We set the wedding date, booked the venue at a rustic vineyard just outside the city, $5,000 deposit, non-refundable by the way, and started sending out save the dates. My mom cried when she got hers. Everything seemed locked in. But if I'm honest, little cracks started showing months before the yacht. Small things you almost brush off at first. Like how she suddenly guarded her phone, turning it screen side down on the table when we ate. Or how she started buying new dresses for work events, even though she never cared about office fashion before. And there were late nights, so many late nights. She'd say, "Babe, I have to stay for a project deadline." And I'd bring her coffee at 10 p.m., only to find her car not even in the parking lot. I asked once, "Hey, where were you?" She smiled, kissed me on the cheek, and said, "Traffic, you know how it is." I wanted to believe her. I really did. That's the thing about love. You want the story in your head to be true. So you ignore the red flags waving right in front of you. Then came the retreat. She packed a little too light for a business weekend. Sun hat, bikini tucked into her bag, and I remember joking, "Wow, they're really upgrading these corporate seminars, huh?" She laughed it off, but her eyes didn't meet mine. And that was the last normal moment before everything fell apart. Saturday morning I was scrolling my phone half awake, sipping bitter black coffee from the pot I'd left on too long, when a buddy of mine sent me a screenshot. "Isn't this your girl?" he texted. My heart thumped. I opened it, and there she was, on a yacht, the city skyline faint in the background. She was leaning into a guy, someone I vaguely recognized from her company's holiday party. "Mark, Matt?" Something like that. He had his arm casually draped around her chair, and she was laughing like I hadn't seen her laugh in months. You know the kind of laugh that says, "I'm exactly where I want to be"? Yeah, that one. And suddenly the excuses, the late nights, the half-truths, they all connected like puzzle pieces snapping together. My fiancée wasn't working late. She wasn't building a career. She was building memories with him. Right then I felt anger, but also shame. Shame that I'd missed it. That I'd been the guy planning floral arrangements while she was sipping champagne on a yacht with a coworker. And here's the thing. I didn't confront her right away. I just sat there staring at the photo, replaying our whole relationship in my head. Was it all fake? Was she ever really mine? I thought about the ring. $8,200 from a jeweler downtown, custom band with her birthstone hidden under the diamond. I thought about how she cried when I slipped it on her finger. Were those real tears? Or was she already halfway gone even then? My phone buzzed again. More photos from my buddy. Different angles, same story. She wasn't at a retreat. She was on vacation with him. My hands shook, and I almost threw the phone across the room, but instead I whispered out loud, "It's over." And the scary part? I meant it. That was the exact moment the wedding died in my heart. But I hadn't told her yet. Not officially. Not directly. That part, that confrontation, was still coming. After seeing those photos, I couldn't just sit around pretending everything was fine, but I also didn't want to explode without being sure, you know? Truth is, I still wanted to believe there was some explanation, some excuse that would make me look stupid for doubting her. But deep down, I already knew. I started noticing everything with new eyes. Every word she said, every little pause in her story suddenly felt loaded with meaning. The night she came back from that so-called retreat, I waited up for her. Lights dimmed in the living room, TV humming low, pretending like I just dozed off on the couch. She walked in past midnight, smelling faintly of sunscreen and a perfume she never wore around me. Something sweet, almost tropical. I asked casually, "So how was the big company weekend?" She froze just for a split second, then forced a smile and said, "Oh, boring, you know how these things are. Workshops, presentations, team bonding." I nodded, but in my head I could still see the image of her holding that champagne glass, hair blowing in the wind, laughing with him. Boring? Yeah, right. From then on, I became a detective in my own relationship. I started checking receipts she left in her purse, hotel minibar charges, rideshare logs that didn't line up with her stories. One night I even drove past her office parking lot at 9:30 p.m. when she claimed she was wrapping up a late project. Her car wasn't there. I parked half a block away and waited 30 minutes just to be sure. Still no sign of her. And then, almost on cue, she texted me, "Running late, don't wait up." My hands clenched the steering wheel so tight my knuckles hurt. I wanted to call her right then, shout into the phone, but I didn't. Instead, I drove home, sat in the driveway for an hour, and just stared at the empty passenger seat where she used to sit and sing along to the radio. That seat felt colder than ever. The more I dug, the worse it got. I saw her bank statements, dinners at rooftop restaurants she never mentioned, spa charges on weekdays when she said she was buried in work. Once I even caught a whiff of men's cologne on her scarf when she tossed it over the chair. It wasn't mine. I don't wear cologne. And here's the part that really twisted the knife. My mom adored her. My fiancée could do no wrong in my family's eyes. She was charming, polite, always helping set the table at family dinners, making my nieces laugh with silly faces. My dad would pat me on the back and say, "You picked a good one, son." And I'd smile, swallowing the lump in my throat, because how could I tell them the truth? How could I tell them the good one was sneaking around on yachts with another man? I felt trapped in my own silence. My best friend Eric noticed I was off. One night we grabbed beers at O'Malley's, this dingy bar we've been going to since college. He leaned over the table, eyes narrowing, and said, "Man, what's going on with you? You look like hell?" I hesitated, then showed him one of the yacht photos. He stared at it for a long time before shaking his head. "Bruh, that's not work. That's a vacation. And she's not with the team. She's with him." I already knew it, but hearing it from someone else made it real in a way I couldn't deny. Eric slammed his beer down and said, "You can't marry her. Don't be that guy who walks into a trap with his eyes wide open." His words echoed in my head for days. Still, I wasn't ready to pull the trigger. I needed one more piece of proof, something undeniable, something even she couldn't talk her way out of. So I started watching her closer. Sunday morning, she told me she was going for brunch with a couple of girlfriends. Fine, normal enough. But I checked her location. Yeah, I know, borderline stalker behavior, but desperate times. And guess where she was? Not at the brunch spot. She was at the marina. The same marina where that yacht was docked. I drove down there, parked 2 rows back, and waited. An hour later, I saw her walking down the pier. Sunglasses on, hair tied back, laughing into her phone. A minute later, he appeared, that coworker carrying a cooler. They looked like they'd done this before, like it was routine. My chest tightened. I sat there gripping the steering wheel, torn between running over and blowing everything up right there, or sitting in silence like a coward. I chose silence, at least for that day. Drove home, heart pounding, mind spinning. That night when she came back, she kissed me on the cheek and said, "Brunch was great. I really needed girl time." I smiled back, but inside I was screaming. That was the moment I knew I couldn't go on like this. The wedding wasn't just in danger, it was already dead, only the announcement was missing. But still, I wanted her to confess, to slip up, to give me the chance to confront her face to face. And I didn't have to wait long. The next weekend, something happened that pushed everything past the point of no return. The next weekend came faster than I expected, and with it, the moment everything finally cracked wide open. Saturday morning, she told me she had to run some errands before meeting her mom. I nodded, pretending to sip my coffee, but inside I was wired like a live wire. I waited 10 minutes after she left, then grabbed my keys and followed. My gut told me she wasn't going shopping, and my gut was right. She didn't head toward the mall. She drove straight to the marina. I parked 2 cars back, low in the seat, and watched as she got out. Sunglasses on, summer dress flowing in the breeze, hair tied up like she was ready for a vacation, not a family errand. A few minutes later he showed up, the coworker carrying a bag that clinked like bottles. She greeted him with a smile I hadn't seen in months, the kind of smile that used to be mine. And then she kissed him. Not a peck, not a mistake, but a slow, familiar kiss like they'd done it 100 times before. My chest tightened so hard I thought I was having a heart attack. You ever been so angry your hands shake? That was me. I sat there gripping the wheel, staring, unable to believe what I was seeing, but knowing damn well it was the truth. My fiancée wasn't mine anymore. Maybe she never had been. They walked down the pier and boarded the yacht like it was their private getaway. Champagne popped, laughter carried across the water, and I realized this wasn't some fling. This was routine. This was planned. And I snapped. I got out of my car, slammed the door harder than I should have, and marched straight down the pier. My footsteps echoed on the wood, each one fueled by months of lies. When I reached the yacht, they were sitting side by side, glasses in hand, and when she saw me, her face went pale, like she'd seen a ghost. "What are you doing here?" she stammered, voice cracking. I looked at her, then at him, then back at her, and I said, "Funny, I was about to ask you the same thing, but I guess I already know." He stood up, trying to play it cool, muttering something about how this wasn't what it looked like. I laughed, but it wasn't a happy laugh. It was the kind of laugh you let out when the truth is too ugly to ignore. "Not what it looks like," I snapped. "She's wearing the dress I bought her for our engagement dinner, and she's kissing you on a yacht. Tell me, how exactly am I supposed to see it?" My fiancée reached out, panic in her eyes, saying, "Please, let me explain." But I pulled back. "Explain? You told me you were running errands." "Errands don't involve champagne and yachts. Errands don't involve kissing your coworker while your fiancé is at home planning a wedding." Her lip trembled. She looked caught, cornered, desperate. She tried to spin it, tried to tell me it was a mistake, that she was confused, that the wedding stress had made her act out. But I cut her off. "Stop, just stop. I've been watching you for weeks. The late nights, the lies, the receipts, the perfume that isn't yours. You think I'm an idiot? No. I've given you every chance to be honest, and you chose this instead." He stepped closer, putting an arm in front of her like he was protecting her, and that made my blood boil even hotter. "You don't get to play hero," I said, glaring at him. "You're the other man. You knew she was engaged, and you did it anyway." He opened his mouth like he wanted to argue, but I didn't give him the chance. I turned back to her, my voice shaking now, not from weakness but from the weight of it all. "We had a venue booked, invitation sent. My family loves you, and this is what you give me in return?" Tears welled in her eyes, rolling down her cheeks, but I didn't feel sympathy anymore. That part of me was gone. I pulled the engagement ring out of my pocket. It had been burning a hole in there since the day I saw that first photo. I held it up, the diamond catching the sunlight, and then I set it on the yacht's table between their untouched glasses. "You can keep it," I said flatly. "Consider it payment for the performance." And just like that, I walked off. She called after me, voice breaking, shouting my name, but I didn't look back. I couldn't. Each step down that pier felt like I was shedding years of lies. When I reached my car, I sat inside, hands shaking, heart pounding, staring at the steering wheel, while her voice echoed in the distance. I knew then there was no going back. The wedding was off, the relationship was over, and as much as it hurt, there was a strange sense of relief. I didn't have to wonder anymore. I had the truth, ugly as it was, and I was free. But freedom comes with consequences, and breaking the news to everyone else, that was going to be a whole different battle. Driving away from that marina felt like stepping out of one life and into another, but the real storm hadn't even started yet. See, calling off a wedding isn't just about breaking up with someone, it's about unraveling a whole network of plans, expectations, and people who already saw you as part of the family. The first call I made was to my mom. I sat in my car in the grocery store parking lot, staring at my phone for a good 5 minutes before hitting dial. She picked up all cheerful. "Hey, sweetie, how's your Saturday?" I swallowed hard and said, "Mom, the wedding's off." There was silence on the other end, then a sharp inhale. "What do you mean off? Honey, what happened?" My throat tightened. "She cheated, Mom, with a guy from work." I caught her. "It's done." My mom gasped, and then she started crying. Not just for me, but for the dream she'd built up too, seeing her son walk down the aisle, welcoming a daughter-in-law. "I'm so sorry," she kept saying. "You didn't deserve this." I promised her I was okay, though truth is I wasn't. Hanging up left me numb, but I still had more calls to make. My dad was next. He's not an emotional man, a Vietnam vet who usually just says a few words, and that's that. When I told him, he went quiet, then finally muttered, "Better now than 20 years and 2 kids later. Proud of you for walking away." That hit me harder than I expected. Then came the hardest part, telling her family. Her mom called me that evening, chipper about floral arrangements. I had to cut her off. "Mrs. Lewis, I need you to know, the wedding isn't happening." She laughed at first, thought I was joking, but when I told her why, she went dead silent. Then she said, "There must be some mistake." I could hear my fiancé in the background yelling, "Give me the phone!" I didn't. I just said, "Ask your daughter about the yacht," and hung up. My phone blew up for hours after that. Texts from her, from mutual friends, from people who couldn't believe I'd overreacted. She tried spinning it, said I was jealous, controlling, that it was just harmless fun. But I had the photos. I had the truth burned into my memory. I wasn't the fool anymore. Canceling the vendors was next. The venue manager sighed heavily when I told him. "Sorry, no refunds this close to the date," he said. Just like that, $5,000 gone. The caterer took half. The photographer kept his deposit. Every cancellation felt like rubbing salt in the wound. A wedding dissolving isn't clean. It's expensive, messy, humiliating. But the weird part? My friends rallied around me. Eric showed up with a 6-pack and said, "Screw her, man. We'll throw you a freedom party instead." Another buddy offered to help me box up her stuff. One by one they reminded me I wasn't alone, even if at night lying in bed I felt emptier than I'd ever felt before. My fiancée, or ex-fiancée I should say, kept trying to reach me. She showed up at my apartment once, pounding on the door, tears streaking her face. "Please, let me explain," she begged through the wood. I stood there, back against the door, heart pounding, but I didn't open it. Not this time. Not after everything. I'd already given her the chance to explain, and she'd used it to lie. I wasn't falling for it again. What really sealed it for me was the reactions from people I least expected. My grandmother, 92 years old, sharp as a tack, called me when she heard. Her voice cracked as she said, "Darling, love should never make you feel smaller. If she made you feel that way, she wasn't the one." Simple words, but they stuck. She'd been married 60 years to my grandpa. She knew the difference between love and betrayal. In the days that followed, I noticed something strange. Freedom. Yeah, there was grief, but also relief. No more late nights wondering where she was. No more double-checking stories, no more anxiety. Just quiet. And in that quiet, I realized I'd been living in denial for months. I started boxing up the wedding stuff. The invitations, the guest list pinned on the fridge, the registry. Each item felt like closing a chapter. Painful, sure, but necessary. People kept asking me, "So what now?" And I didn't have an answer. I just knew one thing. I wasn't marrying a liar. The fallout spread wider than I imagined, though. Her family tried to smear me, saying I was dramatic, insecure, even cruel for embarrassing her by canceling everything. But my side had my back. My mom told them flat out, "He caught her cheating. That's on her, not him." Word traveled, and soon enough people stopped questioning me. The truth has a way of surfacing no matter how hard someone tries to bury it. Still, late at night, I'd replay it all in my head. The proposal under Christmas lights, the ring I picked out, the look on her face when she said yes. And then I'd see her on that yacht, kissing him, and the memories shattered all over again. That duality, love and betrayal side by side, stayed with me. But here's the thing. Every time I thought about giving her another chance, I'd hear Eric's voice, my dad's words, my grandma's wisdom, and I'd remember the feeling of freedom walking away from that pier. That was stronger than any temptation to forgive. That was the new chapter waiting to be written. It's been a few months now since that day at the marina, and sometimes I still wake up in the middle of the night thinking it was all a bad dream. But then I remember the details too clearly for it to be anything but real. The smell of the ocean air, the sound of champagne glasses clinking, her laugh echoing off the water, and the look on her face when she realized I'd caught her. That memory doesn't hurt like it used to, though. It's changed shape, gone from raw pain to something else, something sharper but cleaner. Freedom. Truth is, walking away was the hardest thing I've ever done, but also the smartest. People say betrayal breaks you. I don't think that's true. Betrayal doesn't break you. It shows you who never deserved you in the first place. And that lesson, as brutal as it was, is one I'll carry forever. I've learned that love without trust isn't love at all. It's just a performance, a show you buy a ticket for until the curtain falls and the stage lights burn out. That's what our relationship had become. A carefully rehearsed play with fake smiles, excuses, and lies whispered behind closed doors. Once I saw behind the curtain, there was no going back. My friends asked me if I regret proposing in the first place, if I regret all the time and money wasted. And you know what? No, I don't. Because regret implies I wish I'd never experienced it, and as much as it hurt, it taught me more about myself than anything else ever could. I learned I'm stronger than I thought. I learned I won't settle for half-truths and late-night lies. I learned that the right person won't make you question your worth. They'll make you feel safe in it. That's priceless. My ex tried to contact me again last month, sent me a long email filled with apologies and explanations, saying she made a mistake, saying she was confused. I didn't even reply. Not because I wanted to hurt her, but because I realized her words don't matter anymore. Once trust is broken like that, no apology in the world can glue it back together. You can tape the pieces, sure, but the cracks will always show. I don't want cracked love. I want the real thing. And here's the twist. I'm not bitter. Angry, yes, for a time, but bitter? No. I refuse to let her actions poison the way I see love or marriage. If anything, I believe in it more now, because I know what the opposite looks like. I know what betrayal feels like, so when I find the right person, I'll know it's real. And that's worth waiting for. Sometimes when I walk past the vineyard where the wedding was supposed to be, I imagine what could have been. White chairs lined up, guests smiling, her walking down the aisle. But instead of sadness, I feel relief. Because all of that would have been built on lies. And lies can't hold the weight of forever. My dad was right. It's better to find out now than 20 years and 2 kids later. That truth saves me every time I think about what I lost. Because really, I didn't lose. I dodged a bullet. I know some of you listening might be going through something similar. Maybe you've caught someone cheating. Maybe you're ignoring the red flags because you love them too much to see the truth. I get it, I was there. I wanted so badly to believe her stories, to hold on to the picture in my head instead of the reality in front of me. But trust me, the reality always wins. The truth doesn't go away just because you don't look at it. And if you're sitting there right now with that pit in your stomach, with that nagging doubt you can't shake, don't ignore it. Don't waste years waiting for someone to love you right when they've already shown you they can't. Walking away doesn't make you weak. It makes you free. And freedom is worth more than any ring, any wedding, any picture-perfect lie. These days I wake up and I don't check her texts. I don't wonder where she is. I don't wait by the phone. I just live. I go to the gym. I grab beers with Eric. I visit my grandma. I watch football without someone pretending to be interested beside me. It's simple, it's quiet, and it's real. And that's better than any fake forever. So here's my closing thought. Sometimes life doesn't give you the ending you wanted, but it gives you the truth you needed. And truth is the foundation for everything good that comes next. If you've ever been betrayed like this, you know what I mean. If you haven't, I hope you never do. But if it happens, I hope you remember my words. Don't let it break you. Let it set you free. And now I'll throw it back to you. What would you have done if you found your fiancé on a yacht with another man days before your wedding? Would you forgive or would you walk away like I did? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because I want to hear your stories too. And if you stayed with me through this whole journey, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and share this video with someone who needs to hear it today. Because maybe they're sitting in silence right now, doubting their gut, and this story is the push they need. Remember, betrayal doesn't define you. Your decision after does. And mine was simple. I chose me.